Hey guys, so for my service learning project, I actually volunteered at the Denver Botanic Gardens Dia de los Muertos event. This event was a free event to the public and served the purpose of providing a place for people to celebrate their friends and families who have passed. Um, and so it was open to the public. It was an event that served really the entire public, but was kind of catered towards those who wanted to celebrate Dia de los Muertos. For my volunteer time, I was actually sorry, my nose is so dry. Inside the Children's Crafts and Activities tent. I was helping kids and their families build some flower crowns, which was really fun. And this event actually taught me a lot more than I was expecting it to, especially because I've never celebrated Dia de los Muertos. My family and my culture just don't celebrate this holiday. And a lot of my learning from this day actually came from the frustration that one of my friends and co volunteers felt from the event. So we had hundreds, maybe even thousands of kids and families come through the tent that day, and all of them were really excited to partake in the various activities and crafts that we had. They could paint sugar skulls. God, there were so many different things for them to do. However, it was really clear that some people didn't really care much about the holiday and were really only there to do some crafts, and because it was a free event, which isn't a huge deal and everything, but there were some things that really just didn't sit right with me on the day. Like, for instance, we had some teenagers come up, these teenage girls, and one of them was like, I don't even know what this event is. I don't know what Dia de los Muertos is. I'm just here to make some flower crowns. And it was like, wow, okay, that's kind of disrespectful. And then we would have some moms and some family members really try to push through the crowds and fight over flowers for their flower crowns. Because, we only had so many and everybody wanted to have the prettiest crown. So it was just kind of these interesting attitudes that didn't really support or respect the celebration or the holiday, which is what the event was all about. And there were just some situations where I was like, wow, some people are making this day way more materialistic than it should be. And so my friend who I mentioned earlier, who I was volunteering with, she identifies as Hispanic, and Dia de los Muertos is a really special day for her and her family. Something they look forward to every year. And so, as you could imagine, she was really hurt by a lot of the things that we experienced that day, especially the disrespect that a lot of people were showing towards the event, or I guess towards the holiday. And so we took a little break and I talked with her a lot about it because she just needed to get a lot of it out. And she told me just how much it hurts to see people completely disregard the holiday and disrespect the fact that, this is a highly valued holiday in a lot of people's cultures. And so for people who were there to celebrate, these negative attitudes and everything really took away from the celebration. And learning all of this was really important and very eye-opening to me. It made me realize how oblivious some people can be to other cultures around them, even when they decide to step into an event or a celebration that's a part of that culture. And because of this event, I learned so much about how important it is to be aware of others around you and be mindful of how your words and actions will impact them, especially if you are taking a step into their culture for a day. Because I know personally I thought it was really interesting and exciting that they had this event free and open to the public, because that meant really anybody could show up. But it made me realize, if I'm going to do things like this in the future, I need to take the time to learn about what I'm walking into and how I can be respectful and honoring of that culture. And then on top of that, I got to learn a lot about the cultures of people who were there to actually celebrate Dia de los Muertos, and those who identified with cultures that celebrate this holiday. And that was really exciting, just the amounts of conversations I got to have with people out in the community who identify differently than I do. And I was just able to gain a lot more knowledge about cultures other than my own, which I think is really important. In regards to theories that I could apply, obviously the bioecological model by Yuri Bronfenbrenner, the macro system for sure played a huge part in this event, just because, this whole event surrounded culture, and society and culture are what make up the macro system. And it was really time for these people and these cultures to come together and be able to celebrate um, their loved ones who they miss. And so I thought that was pretty cool. And then another layer of the model that I could point out is the microsystem, and just like it really is a family oriented event. Like it has to do with culture, but it's all about families coming together, celebrating and praying for their ancestors and others who have passed away. So it's just a really big holiday for families to be together. So really supportive of the microsystem on that day. And then based off of one of my experiences, specifically the teenage girls who said they were really just there for the flower crowns, made me think of Erickson's psychosocial stages, and specifically ego identity versus ego diffusion. And it was interesting for me to, see them come up and voice that like they were really only there for the flower crowns. And the reason I picked this stage is because it's clear that like at this age, they're trying to figure out who they are, trying to create an identity for themselves. And I don't know if this event maybe cleared some things up for them or made some things obvious, but that really stood out to me because it's clear at that age that, they're really experimenting with different identities and whatnot. So, yeah, that was my event. They host it every single year. They're always looking for volunteers. I definitely had a lot of fun, and I look forward to going back next year.